Hey.
Thanks for coming back to hang out with us. So, something crazy just happened. Minutes ago,
Just when we're getting ready to hit record.
Yes, literally. We did our test video, made sure the audio was good, and we were seriously going to hit the record button when all of a sudden I heard Brayden go, "What the heck?" from downstairs, right?
Her son.
My son.
Yeah.
And I said, "Brayden, is everything okay?" And so we jump up and we start heading over there. Well, I didn't hear him say, "There's a squirrel in the house." Cynthia did. So then I get down the stairs. I'm like, "What's going on?" And he goes, "There's a squirrel in the house."
And
I'm
she
like,
must have said like 5 times, "You're joking." We're like rushing down the stairs. She's like, "You're joking." He's going, "No,
I'm not joking.
am not joking." She goes, "You're joking."
Yes.
He's like, "No, Mom, there's a squirrel in the house."
Yeah. And I'm thinking, this is like a dream come true because I love squirrels. I know I talk about them all the time and I apologize, but I love squirrels.
Yeah, but not in your house. Because
Well,
they can like poop all over the place if you can't catch them.
Well, here's the thing. I watch all these
They're
videos.
not potty trained.
I know. I watch all these videos about all these
the baby ones. Yeah.
squirrels where people find a baby squirrel and they raise it and then it like sits on their shoulder and then they feed it and it's like their little pet.
True. I
And
have seen
so
those too.
I'm not joking. As I'm running down the stairs, I'm like, I hope he is not joking. I hope there is a squirrel in my house because maybe I could befriend it. Well, the crazy thing is, he was not joking. There was a squirrel in the house, and I still can't get the image of the squirrel at the top of my cabinets out of my mind.
Yeah, you know how you have your cabinets in your kitchen and you have this space in between to the ceiling? That squirrel was up there.
Way up there.
Yeah.
And so I run back upstairs because I had
get your
my
phone, get your
yes.
phone.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have a picture of the squirrel in my house.
We don't have our phone, right?
I know, because I literally had
We're
silenced my phone
Yeah, we
so
were
that we could
here.
film. Literally, we were gonna hit the record button when we heard the commotion. So I run up here to get my phone, and I'm hearing like stuff going on downstairs. So I knew he was moving, but I was so disappointed because by the time I got downstairs, he had left the house out the same way he came, which we realized was because the little bastard had bitten a hole in the bottom of our screen, which we just replaced about 2 months ago.
Brand new screen.
Brand new screen.
On the slider.
Yes, on the slider. And it was because, which I literally had to call Steve before we sat down to film just now because I was riddled with guilt because I know this is my fault because I leave like an AM, PM, 60-ounce like soda cup that Steve got months ago, filled with peanuts and filled with sunflower seeds right there by the slider so that every morning I could replenish the squirrel's food supply.
Which, you know, she's been doing for how long?
Oh my gosh,
like
years,
right? So
years.
yeah, so the squirrels are used to being fed by her every day, right?
Yeah.
So tell them like you have been withholding peanuts.
Oh yeah. So this is what is the plot thickens because these little jerks are onto me because when we had filmed recently and I had talked about how the squirrels will bury their peanuts into my hanging flower baskets and the ones I have on the back porch on the patio. And they are ruining my flowers because they dig up the roots so that they can bury the peanuts. And then my flowers die because the roots are exposed.
Yeah, which I had no idea that squirrels would even do that kind
I know.
of stuff.
Honestly, when I first started feeding them, they weren't doing that. But now they're getting really destructive.
Getting very acclimated to your backyard is
yes,
what it is.
Yes, yes. And every time I plant something or something dies and I dig it up and there's always peanuts buried in there. And like I said, sometimes it's a shell and sometimes it's an actual peanut plant growing out of it. So, oh my gosh. So I'm super disappointed that it's my fault that the screen got chewed on because he literally chewed like a half circle out of the bottom of the screen just to climb in and go right there on the, right next to the slider. I've got those cups filled up and ready to go. But I've been withholding the peanuts because they've been ruining my flowers.
So she hasn't fed him in 5 days. So he's pissed.
He's mad at me.
Yeah, he's starving.
Yeah, he's literally starving.
Because he's used to eating your stuff.
Well, and this morning
She even had a mini picnic table.
Yes.
made to put in her backyard
Yes.
for the squirrels.
Yeah. Well, it was a really sweet guy, and I saw it on Instagram, and the crazy thing was he lived like 2 miles from where we live.
Oh, wow.
And he was giving them away for free.
Oh, wow.
And so he said, if you guys want a mini picnic table, he showed a picture of one, and then he showed video in his backyard of how he puts peanuts on it, and the squirrels sit on this little mini picnic table and eat the peanuts. I was like, I need that. So I DM'd the guy on Instagram, and I go, you only live a couple miles from me. Do you have any left? And he goes, I actually have one left. And he goes,
wow.
because I put it out on Instagram and said, just come to my
Yes,
front yard.
Wow.
He goes, I'm going to tuck this one away. So he literally hid it behind something or in something. Anyways, but, you know, the squirrels never really used it because they're used to me just kind of pouring them in little
On the
piles.
ground or
yeah, we
whatever.
used to have an actual squirrel feeder on the fence.
Oh.
And it had like a lid, and they would even pop open the lid and like climb inside and get them. But one night, I saw these two little beady eyes looking at me in the dark when I went over to the slider, and rats were crawling all along the fence.
Well, that gives me the chills.
Oh, it was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
So they would run all along the fence, and then they would go into the peanuts in the
Yeah.
squirrel feeder, and then load up and like I don't know, shove them in their mouth.
Oh my God.
And then they would go back up in the tree or go back wherever they came from.
I didn't even know rats. I guess rats would eat anything.
Yeah,
huh?
they really did.
Yeah.
And so then I told Steve, I have to stop filling up the squirrel feeders. I had 2 that were like screwed to the fence.
Huh.
And I used to love it because it was right behind the fountain. So when I'm looking at the fountain,
Yeah.
I could see the squirrels in the
Right.
squirrel feeder. So
Yeah.
the rats ruined that. And then now I stopped giving them the peanuts, but I still am giving them the sunflower seeds
Huh.
because they don't bury the sunflower seeds.
Oh,
So I
see.
poured a little pile of sunflower seeds this morning when I got up.
Yeah, but
But
that
they're
little,
mad.
That little sucker smelled those peanuts
Yeah.
through the screen door. That is amazing
Yeah.
to me. I didn't know they had such a good sense of smell.
Yes, yes.
Because, yeah, he literally. So when we went down there, I saw him on the top of that cabinet, right? And then when he saw me, I scared him, you know,
Yeah.
because I'm sure I look like a giant, right?
Yeah.
So he jumped down onto their desk they have, and then he's freaking out because he sees me, and I'm like going, whoa!
And he's
you know?
like, I just need to get out of
I need
here.
to get out of here.
Yeah.
So he jumped down onto their dining table, jumped down to the floor, and then he
pile.
went, yeah, and
There's
then
a
he
pile.
went out, and I went, oh my God. So I didn't know that the screen door, I thought the screen door was torn. You know, that was already torn or something.
Oh.
I had no idea. I had no idea that a squirrel would bite through a screen door like that. I thought that was like a rat thing.
Yeah.
I didn't, and I know they do say squirrels are rats with fluffy tails.
Yes, I have a neighbor
But
that says that.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and that's what made me feel even more bad is I know they do that because a good friend of mine
That's right.
who lived in the Bay Area had fed squirrels, and she accidentally dropped one in the track of her slider and didn't think anything of it and just closed the screen. Well, the squirrel bit a hole in the screen just to get that one peanut. And so, anyhow.
Yeah, but you probably, I mean, honestly, you've had those peanuts over there for a long time.
Years.
Yeah, but I think it's because you feed him every day. So
And
they
he got-
didn't do
he got
that.
mad.
But he's mad now because she hasn't fed him in 5 days.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing, too, is he wouldn't
Wow.
have smelled them if the glass door wasn't open.
Right. Well,
it
he
was
couldn't have
just
got
the
in
screen.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And so I was thinking, too, like, I'm the one who opens the slider all the time for the fresh air.
Oh,
like,
of course, 'cause
so when
it's
we're gone,
super
like,
nice.
when
It's-
you and I are in Vegas, like,
Uh-huh.
Steve and Braden
Don't
not
open
feed
them
the
up.
squirrels. But they also don't open the
Right.
slider.
Right. So it's glass.
So, yeah. So I feel like it was just a perfect storm where you and I weren't down there. I didn't feed him peanuts for the last 5 days because I've been trying to spare my new flowers in my
Yes,
garden.
or your garden, yes.
Oh my gosh.
gosh.
So anyways, it's
So
like I
that-
said, in any other situation I would have been like, yay, there was a squirrel in my house. But now my screen is ripped and we just fixed it and now we got to pay to have it done again.
And you know how it is when you have something that's broke or it's been broken for like, you know, however many months or even a year.
Yeah.
And you look at it every day and you're just like, oh my God, we
Oh,
got to
yeah.
get that fixed. We got to get that fixed.
Yes.
And so they literally just got it fixed.
Yeah, and it had a hole from the handle, just from my fingernails, just over the years, just wore on the screen. And so it just looked really yucky. I mean, it just looked really yucky. And so Steve was so sweet to finally just go, I'll take it off. I'll have it get rescreened, you know, and it was a process.
Oh, he got the actual frame rescreened.
Rescreened, yeah.
Wow, okay.
And then it was like trying to get that thing back on.
Well, we all know how closet doors work,
Oh,
right?
it's the same way.
I was going
So
to say,
frustrating.
screen doors are exactly the same.
Yes, because one morning I woke up, actually Steve had already left for work, and I got up and opened the slider just to feed the squirrels, and the whole door fell out. And this was like maybe a month after we just put it in. Yeah. So I thought, oh, it must not have been in right. So then, you know, I'm like, you know, waiting for Steve to feel better, and it's like, I don't want to ask him when he's like not feeling good.
I mean, the poor guy comes home from work and he's like, you know,
he's done.
He's done.
He is like,
I don't even know how he does the day. Yeah, and then he's like straight to his chair and he's out.
Totally. Yeah. He'll just sleep.
He sleeps
for several hours until he wakes up for dinner. But yeah, I just felt terrible to ask him to put it in. And then Braden, one day I was just like, Braden, can you try to help me do this? And he goes, I got it. Don't help me.
Yeah.
And he literally got it back in there. So I was just like, oh, this is so great. And it just, like you said, it felt so good
so refreshing
to have that done. And it was perfect
pretty
and beautiful.
Nice
and now there's a hole again.
Now there's a hot, like this.
Yeah. I'm annoyed because I'm already annoyed that they ruined my plants. And I'm like, I feed you. I even give you clean water. Like, I don't understand why nature doesn't understand, like, how much I love them and how much I want to help them. And I feel like this is what you do to repay me.
Well, and it's kind of, so she called Steve, right, to tell him because she felt so guilty about the screen door. But again, that's why he says to her, you know, they're wild animals or creatures. They're wild creatures.
Yeah.
And so, yes, and I've seen the videos too about finding a baby squirrel and you take it home and you raise it and it sits on your shoulder. And it is freaking adorable. I mean, I love it, you know.
Me too.
But these aren't.
They're not babies. I didn't raise them.
And,
I know.
Yeah, and they're out in the wild. And I told her, I said, well, thank goodness that squirrel got scared of me and ran back out the door because I said, what if he would have ran into the living room and we had to try to get it out?
Up the stairs or something.
Yeah,
like
up the
that.
stairs and got up here and he started jumping on all your stuff.
Yeah, I
he would have knocked everything over.
Yeah, totally.
It could have been a disaster.
Yeah, because I have one of my favorite teapots down there, and I thought if he jumps off and hits my teapot.
Yes.
Yeah, because as I'm running up here and I heard a sound, I was like, please don't let that be
that
my
was
teacup.
him crashing
onto the tech center right there. Yeah. Wow. And I missed all that because I was coming up here to get my phone.
I know.
I just wanted,
Marilyn, get your telephone.
Yeah. I was just like, I need a picture of this squirrel in my house. Oh my gosh.
Oh.
So
man,
so
that was fun.
That was crazy. My heart's still kind of racing from the whole thing because I'm just like, oh my gosh, it was exciting and then it was maddening because my screen door. But
so I think she's over squirrels now.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit annoyed with squirrels right now. So
no more feeding squirrels.
Yeah, just
not
for a
even
little
sunflower seeds.
Yeah, I'm still processing like the whole thing. It's just like
it takes a while to process.
Oh, yeah.
So Steve is, how is Steve doing? We haven't talked about him,
you know, actually, I think I did share on
he did have he had a CT, right?
Podcast that he was getting a CT. So he did get a CT scan.
Right.
And actually, it was great news. Like, there was not much is what they said.
Because he talked to the doctor, though.
Well, we did a Zoom call. So we always does a CT scan, and then we do a Zoom call. But as soon as the results hit, he gets an email. So then he goes on to online and checks his online health thing. Yeah. And then it'll give the results. So we checked it one night, and the results showed not much change, and that the tumor hadn't grown or spread very much. So everything was still kind of at bay. So then, we're always really curious to see how the Zoom call with his oncologist goes, because now he's going to break it down, and we kind of get to little more
understand it a little more.
And Steve's getting really good about reading CT scans. He kind of understands.
Yes, you
probably
do get really good at them.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not something you want to be good at.
I know, right? I can totally read your PET scan, so send it over.
Right, Dr. Cynthia. Yeah, so when we had the Zoom call with his oncologist, he was like, the chemo is still working.
Great.
It's still doing its job, keeping things at bay, not spreading, not growing too much. And so that was great news.
That's the best news you can have.
Yeah.
That's
so
great.
I'm just so grateful, that this protocol is still working.
Yeah. Other though, then I know you had said he is having a lot more pain though.
Yeah.
Now, did he ask the doctor why is he having more pain?
Yeah. Steve is having pain on the right side of his rib cage.
Okay.
In the front, and then on the back of his rib cage. So the doctor was like, could it be your biliary drain? Well, he does have a drain, into his, bowels and all that.
Where's your pancreas at? Is it on your right side?
It is on your right side.
Okay. Okay.
But the biliary drain
on the left
is on his left.
Okay.
Yeah. It was on the right originally.
Yeah.
And I don't know if maybe there's scar tissue from where the drain was on the right side at one point.
Yeah, but that wouldn't cause that kind of pain.
Yeah.
Scar tissue pain is more like a sharper pain. I think his is probably
like a throbbing,
it's
achy.
Throbbing. It's like I've explained mine. It's like for women, it's like bad period pain.
Oh,
your
like
lower,
period cramps.
yeah, it's like lower back, and except that it's all around.
Yeah,
yeah. And I'm just curious if that's what his is like.
Yeah, I mean, Steve actually does think it could be the cancer causing the pain. But he also is still working, and so he's had a lot of jobs that are counting on him. So
he's moving around.
Yeah,
doing
he's
things.
doing a lot
physically.
Yeah, physically. So I think too, it's a combination probably of the tumor, of him being very active at work, and I think
it probably makes things move too. When you're moving, it might make things move, and so So what the pain is, it's the tumors or your lymph nodes, whatever, it presses on things.
Right.
And so when your nerves or your kidney or whatever is it used to have being pressed on, when you got something pushing, that causes a pain.
Right.
So I'm sure that's probably what it is, something like that. So, well, I'm just glad to hear that,
my gosh,
things
me
are
too.
at bay. The chemo is still working.
Yeah.
Because, he's, of course, tired, but we did all three get to go to the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that we haven't been to the movies in a long time. So she's my moviegoer all the time.
Yes.
Because my husband's not a moviegoer. And Steve does like movies.
Yeah.
So a lot of times we all three go.
Yeah. She's like, if you and Steve go see this particular movie, can I go with you? And I'm like, of course you can. Because we love going to the movies.
They love going to movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we were kind of thinking the weekend was supposed to be kind of cooler again.
Yeah, it was supposed to actually rain.
Yeah, like a 24% chance of rain. And so we were like, well, we haven't been in the movies.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think the last movie I saw was one we talked about on the podcast.
We did. It was like way back before Christmas.
Yeah.
It was like in the beginning of December.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was the last movie we'd been to.
Yeah. So it was, I was kind of stretching, to like find a movie that we could go to.
Right, me too.
Because there wasn't any rom-coms or anything like that. But I do really like Ben Affleck as an actor.
Yeah.
And when I saw The Accountant 2 was coming out, I asked Steve about it, and he said, I saw Accountant 1 just recently because they've been promoting Accountant 1.
Oh, because of Accountant 2?
Yes.
Okay.
So he watched it on like Netflix or whatever, or Prime or whatever, and he said it was really good. And he goes, if you guys want to go see The Accountant 2, then I want to go with you.
Yeah.
So then it was kind of cool because Steve found that it was playing on Prime.
Yes.
Actually, it was Prime, not Netflix. Because I ended up watching it again with Steve before we went to the movies. And then
she watched it for the first time.
Yes.
Steve watched it again so that she could see one. And so then she texts me.
Yes.
And she goes, hey, it's on Prime and you have Prime. And she goes, I think it would be good for you to watch, watch one before we watch two because you might understand it, a lot better.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, so me and my husband watched The Accountant 1, which I had never even heard of that movie before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd never even heard of it. But anyway, so we watched it, and I said, oh my God, I spent the first 2/3 of that movie trying to figure out who was who. And, it was this person that was killing this person, and then this person was blowing this person's head off.
Yeah.
And then this girl,
but there was all these connections.
This girl, shot in the head here. And it was just like how you had to figure out how they intertwine together because, anyway, so the first beginning, I'm just like, well, what about this? And who is this? And what about that? And all these things. So it's kind of like a book. I'm a very, I like easy reading. So like me, I'm more of like a Danielle Steele reader or a Nora Roberts. I like all the romance and I like the easy reading.
Yeah.
You start in the beginning and you end at the end,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Well, if you get another kind of book and different kind of authors, it jumps. It'll jump from, 1912 to 1963. And it'll go over here. And then you got to figure out who this uncle is and who this cousin is. And it jumps all over the place. Well, I don't like that kind of book. So I like the easy reading.
Right.
So anyway, so it did take me a minute. I will say, I figured it out in the end. I'm not going to say anything about it.
We didn't want to have
see
any
it.
spoiler alert.
But I did figure out the end before my husband did. And I figured out who was who. And so he goes, well, I was wondering. And I go, yeah, that is. And it ended up being. So anyway, it did help. So we did get to go, go see the accountant too. And it was good. It's a good action, if you like to shoot 'em up, kill 'em up people, it's a good action movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, I felt kind of bad because I've done this before where I tell somebody, you have to go see this movie. It's amazing.
She builds it way up.
I do. Yeah. Because I love it,
Yeah.
But then.
Have you ever seen a movie you haven't loved?
Yeah, Deadpool.
Oh, that was horrible.
That was horrible. Now, that's a movie you really needed to watch all the previous episodes.
I guess.
We talked about this on the podcast.
Yeah,
when you and I
we
went
did
to
this
Reno
one.
and we saw Deadpool,
That was-
I
yeah.
was so lost.
And then I have a best friend of mine who said they literally love them all, and they were standing in line, and I said, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
Serious. Yeah.
Oh,
No, because,
was the worst
and I
movie
love
ever.
Ryan Reynolds too.
yeah.
I love him as a person.
too.
I love him as an actor, and I thought, you know what? We're in Reno. We got this extra time. Let's go see a Ryan Reynolds
It's gotta
movie.
be good, right?
And literally the worst movie I've ever seen in my whole life.
True.
And he wasn't even cute. He had that
Oh, my
prosthesis
God.
on his face, which was kind of gross. Because I didn't know he'd gotten
Oh, my
burned in a previous
God.
Deadpool or
I
something.
didn't either. We
But
didn't know any of it.
Right?
Yeah.
But I love the movies that you got to figure out, and the little twists and the turns and the plots and all this, and I loved piecing it together and
I
going.
do too, to an extent.
Yeah,
You
I think
know?
this one was just a bit too much for you, because when I texted you, I was like, it was really good.
I know.
And you're like,
And I'm like,
it was okay.
It was all right. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
and we hadn't bought the tickets yet, but I thought it'll be something to do, right? It'll be something fun to do.
I did want to go to the movies and just go do something fun. Like we said, it was going to be a gloomy day. We're both not gloomy day people, so we kind of we're like, what can we do inside?
Yeah, inside, but we won't be
And-
missing out on a sunny day.
Yeah, and I love my popcorn at the movie. Gotta have popcorn at the movies. And I snuck in my bottled water, and I snuck in my chewy sweet tarts. And she snuck in her stuff. We always have to bring our bigger purses, not backpacks or anything, but a little bigger, just so at least certain things.
Yeah, I
fit.
didn't.
What did you bring? You brought.
I brought an aloe vera.
Oh,
juice.
that's right. She's into this aloe vera juice. She goes
so
in
good.
cycles.
Yeah.
she and I kind of do too.
Yeah,
I mean,
where I'm
I'll
like,
drink
I love
one
coconut
thing
water.
and I'll drink.
Yeah, and then
it
I
up.
get bored of coconut water.
Yeah.
And then I was at Trader Joe's, and they have aloe vera juice. It's 95% aloe vera juice,
Right.
and it's got little pieces of aloe vera floating
which
in it.
I don't even like lemonade pulp.
Right.
I don't even like orange juice pulp. Now, I like it when it's fresh squeezed.
Yeah.
I do, but
Oh,
like
that's good.
that frozen concentrate stuff.
Yeah.
Even when I was a little kid, my mom would make juice, and I'd say, oh my gosh, I hate that flaky stuff. I called it flaky stuff.
Oh.
And I would beg her to make Kool-Aid.
Oh, right.
And she was like, no, I'm not doing just Kool-Aid because that's all sugar water.
Yes.
So my mom would make, it would be grape or orange.
Yeah.
And she would do half Kool-Aid and half concentrated juice.
Oh.
And then she would sit there and mix them.
Wow.
So that we were getting some juice. Well, I hated the flaky stuff.
That is so funny, because Braden hates the flaky stuff.
I can't stand it.
And he doesn't like orange juice, but he loves lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
So I buy the Simply Lemonade.
With no pulp.
No, they don't have it.
Oh, they
I
have orange juice with no pulp.
Yep, they don't
You
have lemonade.
strain it?
I strain it. Every time I get a new
Oh,
bottle,
you
I
strain
save the
it.
previous bottle.
She is such a good mom.
And then I pour it
swear.
through this strainer
Little
I got
strainer.
at the Daiso.
That's a great idea because
And
I
I
don't
just-
like it either. I hate that stuff.
I just have like a 4-cup measuring cup, and I
Yeah.
just do it 4 cups at a time, and then pour it into the previous
Genius.
container. I
Yeah.
know, right?
Yeah, because I don't like it either. And the funny thing though is that I love it when it's fresh squeezed.
Yes.
So when it's fresh squeezed lemonade or orange juice, I love it.
And you don't mind. You just drink it all
I
down
love
with
it.
the pulp
It's-
and everything.
It's different.
Yeah.
When it's that concentrated stuff, it's like flakes of paper.
Yeah,
It's different.
It's tougher.
It's just
not as
gross.
soft.
Yeah. So I don't care for it at all. So I don't like it. And that's funny though. I didn't know Brady liked it
No,
either.
yeah, he doesn't like the pulp. And
So anyway, so she's on this aloe vera juice kick.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
So
that's
anyway,
right.
she was telling. She's like, "Where were we?"
I know.
So anyway, so she
Caught my eye.
she goes, I want you to try it. And I said, I probably am not going to like it, but I will try it,
Yeah.
just to try something new because I know it's really good for you.
Yeah.
And, I am up for drinking something that's good for you, right? I drink a lot of water. I will say I'm a water drinker. I
Yeah.
always have been. But anyway, so she said she had asked Steve to try it, and he's like, nah, and his taste is off too.
Yeah.
So, chemos, immunotherapies, your taste is so jacked
he
up.
loves Propel,
you know,
and right now he
he can't even drink it. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's stuff that I loved, and that, I couldn't eat chocolate for 6 months.
Wow.
When I had that immunotherapy, chocolate was so disgusting to me. Oh my God. But anyway, so I said, just give me a little bit because I don't want to waste it,
Yes.
So she goes, oh my God, it is, how she is. It is so refreshing. It is so good.
It is. It's so
good.
refreshing.
So I'm thinking I'm getting sucked in by her,
Yes.
her refreshing, and it's so yummy. And I'm
a
like,
sales
okay.
person.
Okay, she is. I told her she should be in sales. Oh my God.
I used to be.
You can sell anything. I'm telling you. So anyway, so she pours me a little bit, and I'm looking at it. And I'm like, oh, okay. First thing I notice, there's stuff floating.
Yes,
There's stuff
yes.
floating in it. But I'm like, okay, that's all right. So I drink it, and I'm like, yeah. It's not the worst thing I've ever drank, but would I buy it? Oh, hell no.
No, yeah.
No.
She's like, it tastes like grass.
It's earthy.
oh, earthy.
And I don't like earthy flavors, and I don't even like herbs very much.
Yeah, she doesn't like bins or
Basil.
basil like in her own
Yeah, I'm not
food.
an earthy, and I don't know if it's because I wasn't. Probably not, because not everybody, back in the day, they didn't have all those herbs, right?
Everything was dried.
Everything was
It was
dried,
in a
yeah.
container.
Yeah, and I don't think my mom cooked with a lot of herbs. I don't think she kind of knew how because she was from Japan, and they don't cook with a lot of herbs in Japan,
Right.
So anyway, I don't like that taste. I could never do like the wheatgrass shots. There's no way I could ever do those. But yeah, any kind of earthy taste I don't like. And that's, to me, it tasted like earth water
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't.
with flaky stuff.
It's very refreshing. I mean, it almost has kind of like a citrus fresh flavor. But it's really hard to describe. But
See, but you like, even like a drink. You like that, what's it, the white linen, and it's like cucumber and
Yes,
mint and
mint,
all
rattled.
that. See, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't even like that at all.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. I mean, the funny thing is, because we had talked about, picking mint from my garden.
Yes, yes.
And you were going to replant it.
Mhm.
Well, I have a sprig in my refrigerator still, and it's still in a glass of
Yeah.
water, and it will last forever in the refrigerator. I took a mint leaf off the other day, and I was pouring myself a glass of Sauvignon Blanc, and I thought, I wonder what a mint leaf muddled into my
you actually
Sauvignon
muddled
Blanc.
it?
Yes, I didn't get the muddler because I didn't want
But
to
I
do
mean,
it too
kinda
much.
mush it?
But yeah, I got a spoon, and I
Okay.
just kind of I set the mint leaf in my glass of wine, and I just tapped it a couple of times. I swirled it around. It was amazing.
There you
Patent
go.
pending.
So I was going to say,
Patent
she
pending.
needs to invent mint wine.
Yeah, I really want to do that.
And it'll be so refreshing.
It's so refreshing. I can't even tell you. If you guys like herbs make things so refreshing.
I think you should invent that, and I think we will market that, and we'll become millionaires.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
On top of my invention that I'm still trying
she
to
has
launch.
8,000 of them.
Oh my gosh.
She has an invention mind, though. I mean, I always tell her, your mind is so, it's amazing because she can think of things all the time, like new things. Like if something doesn't work, well, let's invent it. Let's invent something that makes it work.
Yeah, or if there isn't
whatever.
something to do this or solve
to
a
fix
problem.
it or whatever. Yeah.
And it seems to be for solving a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this respect, it's something that tasted good.
Yeah, it was just delicious.
And who's ever heard of mint wine?
Yeah.
Now that we're putting it all out there.
I know. Maybe we're going to delete this section out of there because maybe I'll work on that one before the other one.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then, I was visiting with my older son this weekend, and I am just so super proud of him. His name's Jared, and he had a lot of challenges with me and him and his stepdad growing up. So it was a rough go, I will say, growing up. And he did go the wrong way. He did get into drugs. And there was a period of time we didn't even see each other or speak. And so for me to see my son now for the last probably 10, 15 years, he, totally turned his whole life around, and he works his job every day, and he has his little apartment, and it's just so heartwarming to me that he always, even though he went on the wrong path when he was younger, he always had such a good heart. Always. He was very sensitive. And he always had this great heart. And I think that might have been a challenge with me and him, too, because he was so sensitive and I'm not so sensitive.
Right.
And we would clash because I couldn't relate. I had a hard time. As I've gotten older, of course, I'm different. He's different. You do change.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I went over yesterday and I just had the best afternoon. And we just sat and his daughter is my granddaughter. So Amaya was there. And so I got to visit with her. And it was just so fun. And we sat there and talked and played with his dog. I just, ever since I lost my dog, I always tell Marilyn that when I come over here, I have to get my dog fixed with Echo. So when I go to Jared's, I got to get my dog fixed with Chula. So his little dog is half, it's a funny mix, but she's so cute. She is half Chihuahua and they think half wiener dog.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So is she kind of long?
She's kind of long and she has these little legs.
Oh my goodness.
But she's got the little stand-up ears.
Oh.
And she's so cute. And it's so cute because he tells her, Grandma's coming.
Oh, that's so cute.
And so
kind of
anyway.
like I did with Carolyn's cat.
Yeah,
Auntie Marilyn.
Auntie Marilyn, come see Auntie Marilyn. Yeah. But I guess I kind of just feel like sometimes you get certain things happen in your life, and you feel like that full circle moment.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mom, you gonna stay for dinner? He was cooking, and he was cooking. He calls them frijoles, and so he was making beans, and he was steaming tamales, and he had brought out some like pico de gallo that he had made made it from scratch,
so
and he had chips out, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is so cute, And so anyway, and I had actually brought over stuff to make strawberry shortcake. So I said, you guys can have this for dessert. And so, so I'm over there, and I felt that full circle moment that here's my son who, gave me so much grief and so much trauma.
And so much worry.
And so much worry.
Yeah.
For so many years, and here he is, he's a grown man, and he is just so sweet, and he's always telling me how much he loves me.
Aww.
And
and he's such a good dad to Amaya.
Yeah, such a good dad to Amaya, and it's funny because we start talking about things like, he goes, I wish I could, how we always say, we wish you could go back in time sometimes and wish we could change things of what we did. And, and he goes, I wish I could sit my stupid self down and tell my stupid self, you're not so smart like you think you are.
Yeah.
You don't know everything, like you think you do. And I said, I think the same thing, though.
Totally.
And I said, but you know what? We are who we are.
Yeah.
And it makes us who we are.
Yeah.
Right?
And you learn from
You
those
gotta learn from your mistakes.
experiences.
Yes, and that's what matters, is when you learn from those mistakes. So I have my older son and then my younger son, and they're 12 years apart.
Oh, wow.
Two different marriages.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of that same
You have
dynamic.
it totally, like Jared's dynamic was totally different than David's dynamic
It was
growing
like
up.
It was like raising only children almost,
Yes,
because
yes.
Jared moved out at such a young age. He moved out when he turned 18.
Right.
I mean, David's what, 7?
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't hardly even know each other. So yeah, so it's kind of like with you and your sisters, but you had a twin.
Yeah, I did.
So they got to grow up together, basically, and then
Yeah.
your two older sisters kind of grew up together.
Yeah, they did.
Because they were kind of like just a couple years apart. So then me and my sister, we were, so I have an older brother and a younger sister, so I'm the middle child.
Middle child.
Yeah.
That explains a lot.
I know it does.
Just kidding.
It does. But we're all 5 years apart. So my brother is 5 years older than me.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm 5 years older than my sister. So I think my mom had said, and her thought, you know, was to get one in school before she had another one.
Oh, that's very
like one
smart.
in kindergarten. You think it's smart, but I don't think it was, because we had nothing in common.
Oh, that's true.
You know, and I
Yeah.
do understand it. I mean, you know, once you have kids, you would see how hard it would be to have two in diapers, you know, if
Yeah.
you're like a year and a half or 2 years apart, how hard it would be.
Yeah.
But that was her thoughts, was to get one in school, then we can have another one. Obviously, she was quite fertile, because then obviously she got pregnant every time she wanted to get pregnant, right?
Wow, that was lucky.
They could just plan it like that. But yeah, so like when me and my sister, so my brother moved out quite early also. He was like, I think 17 when he moved out.
Wow.
No, he was 18, just turned 18. And he had gotten married, and they moved out together. And so I'm young. And my sister, so it was kind of like me and my sister a lot. And we moved around a lot because my dad was in the Air Force. But anyway, I was like, I don't know why, but when we were young, I was always like terrorizing my sister.
Serious?
So it seems to me like when your sisters would like mother you.
Yes.
More so, right? Oh, come over and have movie night with us, you know. We're going to have, you know, spend the night or whatever, all this kind of stuff. Now, we're not that far apart, so we're still at home, and we're only 5 years apart.
Yeah.
So I would terrorize my sister.
Oh, my gosh.
And I, so, like, the one thing I would do that...
I was just going to ask you, like, how would you terrorize your sister?
So I got to tell you, so I was, one of my girlfriends threw me a birthday party. And we were all at her house, and I had she told me, you know, who do you want to invite? And I just said, I just want my really, really good friends. So I just had a group of really good friends there. And so the girl who threw the party, Karen, she is somebody that I worked with. So I didn't know her, you know, as a child or younger or whatever. So my sister's there, right? And so Karen asks my sister, so what was Cynthia like when she was young? Because they want to hear all this fun stuff about me, right? Because at work, I'm all la, 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 and I'm always happy and, you know, and, you know, doing fun things. Or I always like to write pretty, and I like to wrap presents. You know, everybody wants me to wrap all their presents.
All this lovely
all
stuff.
this stuff, right? So she's like, what was Cynthia like when she was young? And my sister goes, wow. And I went, oh no.
Oh, shoot.
I was like,
It's payback time.
I was like, I can't believe she asked that question.
That is a really unique question to ask.
Yeah.
Especially
me.
Yeah, because you're just like, oh no, my skeletons are getting out of the
my
closet.
God. So my sister goes, wow, let me tell you.
Oh my goodness.
So she told the story, and I'm cracking up, but I completely remember the whole thing. So when we were younger, I would say I was probably like, you know, 8, and she'd have to be a little bit older. So I'd say maybe 4 or 5, so I'm like 9 or 10. And my mom would stick us in the bathtub together. We'd do bubble baths together. It's probably just to get it over with, right?
Yeah, one fell swoop. Yeah. Get out of my brain.
So, anyway, so we'd take bubble baths, so she'd be facing this way, and I'd be facing this way, right? And so, anyway, I got this idea that I could tease her that when we let the water out, that I was going down the drain. And so anyway, so I would go, as the water's draining, I'd go, Lorraine, I'm going down the drain.
Oh my
God. I'd be going, and she'd be going, no.
Oh.
Don't go the drain. Cynthia, it's okay.
Oh no, you're terrible.
And I'd be going, just kidding.
Oh my gosh. She's just a little girl. She has no idea you're not going to fit down the drain. Oh,
I
that
know.
was terrible.
And she would fall for it like I could
Did
do
you
it
do
over.
it multiple times?
I could do it again, and she would still fall for
Are
it.
you joking?
No.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah, she was kind of like,
A little naive, maybe.
but she was so sweet. And so now, of course, when I look
Yeah.
back on it, it's like,
Wow,
God,
I'm traumatized. I felt like I needed to help you.
I was such a meanie.
That was ornery.
But to me, at the time,
Yes, you were trying to be funny.
it
Well,
was
did
funny.
Did you mean it in a mean way or did you mean it in a funny way?
To me, it's funny.
Yes.
Right? I'm laughing because
Yes.
to me, it's funny.
Yes.
To her, she's traumatized.
Yes, yes.
You know, so she was the type that, and she was always quieter.
Yes.
She was always more, a little more laid back than me.
Yeah.
You know, but so like I remember I got in trouble one time because I'm so excited for Christmas. I mean, I can't even sleep on Christmas Eve. You know,
Yeah.
it just.
But you're trying to go to sleep because you
I
know
can't.
Santa's coming.
I can't though. I'm just like up all night.
Oh
right?
man, I would have the fear that I would like accidentally hear Santa.
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't come.
Okay.
But I would always just like pray, like, please, Lord, let me fall asleep. Because if Santa knows I'm awake, he's not coming.
I know, but you gotta fall asleep.
I know, and I
would
always
have
would.
to try. Well, I
You
always-
should have prayed about it.
I did. She prays about really weird things sometimes.
I
though.
do. I pray about everything. Some of it's weird, some of it's not. If you need a prayer, you just let me know.
Yeah, she's a prayer person.
I'm going to pray for you.
Yeah, she'll pray for you. So, yeah, I got in trouble because I'm excited. And I want to go downstairs. And
Yeah.
I want someone to go with me.
Yeah.
And my stupid little sister's sound asleep.
Right?
It's like, wake up!
Just
it's
wake up, it's
Christmas
Christmas.
morning.
I mean,
what the heck?
yeah.
How can you sleep?
That's what I was
right?
just thinking. How does she
How do
sleep?
you sleep? So, well, we're in separate rooms, right? So then I was trying to make noise. I was trying to wake her up. She won't wake up. So I knew she had a new bicycle down there because I went down there and I saw the bicycle
Oh
down
my
there.
gosh, that is
So I'm
huge.
like, yeah, that was a big gift back then for
Especially
us, a
back
new
then.
bicycle. Yeah, bicycle. So yeah, so she would get up and I was so tired of her sleeping. Like, how do you sleep? So anyway, so I went up there and I shook her and I go, Lorraine, I go, wake up. And she's like, I go, it's Christmas morning.
Yes.
Santa came. And she's like, no, leave me alone. I'm tired, you know. And I go, you got a bike.
Oh, you
And she
ruined
goes,
the surprise.
she goes, I did. She woke up. And she ran down the stairs.
It worked.
Yeah, my mom was so mad.
Oh my gosh, because your mom wanted the big reveal.
I just told her.
Oh my gosh. Well, you got her to wake up.
I did. It
But
worked.
then your mom was mad at you.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Oh, heck yeah. Because then I had her to go down with her with me.
Oh my god. Talk about ruining a surprise.
I know, but, it's kind of like, it's kind of funny now. But
Yeah.
I will say, I have apologized to my sister like 8,000 times.
Right.
Because she...
You kind of
is
have to.
She's my best friend.
Yeah, because you
And
guys are so close now.
we don't fight about... And I don't think we've fought about anything since our 20s.
Right.
Right? This was all when we were younger and growing up, and
Yeah.
sibling rivalry and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, because you kind of do.
I guess, I don't know. I see other people and I'm just like, why didn't I feel that way about my sister? Why didn't I feel like I need to
Compassionate.
take care of her?
Yes, because you were
She's
the
my
older.
little sister. Yes.
Yes,
Why didn't
yes.
I feel that? In my mind, it was like she was just a pain.
Annoying.
Yeah,
She
annoying,
was
and I
in the
didn't want her
way.
around. And yeah, it's like, why didn't I feel
Interesting.
that?
Yeah, that like maternal instinct.
Yes, I had none. Zero.
Right.
But I know with like you and Carolyn,
We were.
they were twins.
Yeah.
And
Well-
they still had some stuff going on, right?
Oh, we did. I mean, probably not anything, crazy, but
Like going down the train.
yeah, like trying to trick my sister I was going to be washed away forever. But, yeah, I mean, and the thing, too, is, like, how, as we were saying, my 2 older sisters were so much older that by the time we got old enough to, like, realize anything, like, they'd already moved out. But like you said, we got to go over to their house for sleepovers, and that was always, so like, cute. The best fun ever. But, yeah, so Carolyn and I, we kind of had to share everything. Okay, yeah. And I think that was always really hard for us. But then when we started working and we got our own jobs, we kind of started having our own style.
What about, like, when you were little?
Well, no.
You guys got along really well?
Yeah, mostly? We did. Yeah. I mean, yeah, honestly, for the most part, like, we played 24/7, and I was so grateful, to have a friend, to have my best friend all the time. Especially because, like I said, when my sisters were little, all the neighbors on our street were their age, so they all grew up together, and then they all moved out. So our street was just left with, parents that were empty nesters. But then my mom and dad accidentally got pregnant, and they had twins. So it wasn't like I grew up alone, which I would have
accidentally and have twins.
Right. And that actually is kind of a cute story because my mom didn't even know she was pregnant. She thought she wasn't feeling good for some reason. She goes to the doctor to get it checked out.
How old was your mom?
My mom was 35 at the time.
Oh, okay. So it's not like she was 40 or anything.
No,
okay.
But,
But she was done. She was in her mind done
having kids. Yes. Yeah, because she had helped raise my dad's,
the
2 children from his previous marriage.
Oh, okay. I don't think I knew that part.
Yes. Okay. And they were very close with my mom. Oh. Yeah. And then my mom had her and my dad's 2 children. So there was, 4 kids, but they didn't have my older siblings, 24/7. Right. It was like a 50-50 kind of thing. Yes. But then when, my mom doesn't feel good, she goes to the doctor, and the doctor tells her, "You're pregnant." And then there's 2 heartbeats.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
My mom was like so nervous to tell my dad, and my dad, he was so sweet about it. He's like, well, the Lord must know what we need, and so it must be the Lord's will to give us 2 more kids. So my dad has 6 kids,
Wow.
and together, So anyhow, but I always loved that I had Carolyn because it was always like having my best friend, and we would fight over stuff, of course. But like the great thing is that you didn't want to stay mad at each other too long because then you didn't have anybody to play with, right? So I would be like, and I might have been a little more gentle-natured than Carolyn because I would always kind of be like, well, I'm kind of bored now. And then I'd go in her room and I would be like, Carolyn, do you want to play? And she's like, yeah, let's play. And so we just make up and we play. Now, I do have to say, like, when we got older and we started, we got a job and we were making our own money and we're getting our own style, it was a little different scenario because when you're little and your mom buys you clothes, you share everything. Yeah. But then when it's your own money and you have a job and you've got your own style, and now we've like separated.
This is like my top. This is my dress.
Yes, because I
bought it. Yeah.
And the funny thing too is that we shared a room way longer than we needed to because we liked being together. I mean, we slept together in a twin bed forever.
You did?
Forever. And my sisters had already moved out. There was an extra bedroom, but we still chose to sleep together in the twin bed, even when there was an extra.
So me and my sister shared a room probably only until we were about 10. I was 10 and she was 5 when we moved and got, no, because then we had bunk beds. So until I was about 12, we shared a room, but I was the one who said, here's a line in the middle of the room. This is my side. That's your side. And when she goes, but I have to get out the door, I go, you jump.
That is terrible.
I know.
That is terrible.
And here's you guys sleeping together in a twin bed because you want to.
Yeah, we liked it.
That's so cute.
I mean, we would talk and tell stories all night. We picked shapes out of the stucco.
See, I wish I would have been like that.
Right? We had a very good growing up time together. It was a lot of fun.
Yes.
But
then they grew up.
Well, yes. I mean, and things happen, right? And the one thing I could say that I think is kind of funny now, but I did not find it funny when she did it.
Yeah.
Okay. my favorite store back then was Contempo.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Contempo.
I loved Contempo.
They had the coolest clothes. And when you get your first job and you get your first paycheck, you want to go to Contempo and you want to spend a little more than you should and get something trendy because they had the most trendiest clothes ever.
Did.
Okay, I found the most beautiful bolero jacket. It was white cotton. It had this bib that went all the way around the back and to the front. And from this bib that kind of looked a little bit sailory, but not really, if you could just imagine what that looked like. It had black tassels hanging all the way around the flap in the back, all the way to the front. It was dry clean only because it was black tassels on a white cotton jacket.
Okay.
And I just kept thinking, I'm going to wear that. I had these cute little black shorts that zipped up the front with a little ring zipper pull. And I thought, I'm going to wear it with some really cute shoes. And I'll just look super adorable. But I'm going to save it for a special night when I go out with my friends. Well, Carolyn, I wasn't home one night, and she had a special night with friends, and she didn't have anything to wear. So she helped herself to my closet. She ripped the tags off, the garment from Contempo, and she wore it out with her friends and spilled red beverage of some sort.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't know if it was wine or, I don't know, a mixed drink or something.
Fruit punch.
Yeah, something with fruit punch and vodka, I'm sure. And she ruined it. So I have no idea that she even wore it because I was out with my friends. And what she did was, instead of getting it dry cleaned, she washed it in the washing machine.
Oh, my God.
And she did lay it flat to dry.
The worst thing to do ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
The black tassels bled all over the white jacket.
And you now had a gray bolero jacket.
Yeah, in some areas. Like it was black stripes where it
Tie-dye.
dripped down and the bottom of it was still white.
Like she wasn't going to get out of that one.
No.
No.
And she just waited for it to dry and then she stuck it back in my closet
Yeah.
and never said a word.
Oh my God, she never even told you?
Nope.
Wow,
And
that's brave.
I know. This is probably like the honoriest thing she's ever done
Oh
to
my
me.
God, that is crazy.
So I plan a special night with my girlfriends, and I am.
What you're gonna wear?
Yeah,
right?
I am so excited to finally wear that bolero jacket.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
and back in the day, that thing probably was $30.
Okay, which would be like $2.50 now. You
Yeah,
know?
because I got a paycheck and I wanted to buy
Yes.
myself something really cool, you
Yes.
know, and adorable. So, anyways, I'm getting dressed to go out with my friends, and I go to my closet to grab my brand new white bolero jacket, only to pull it out from in between other garments, and it is ruined.
Did you at first think like something happened in the closet?
Not at all.
No.
Nope. I mean, nope, never.
No?
There was no way nothing would ever happen in my closet. I immediately knew it was Carolyn.
Really?
And I was filled with so much disappointment and so much anger.
Oh,
like,
I bet.
And she was already out with her friends.
Oh, she wasn't home.
So it
when you
wasn't like
discovered?
I could rip her apart.
Yeah.
In the moment, like I literally am scrambling, knowing that my friends are coming to pick me up any minute, and I did not have anything to wear.
Right.
And then feeling like this special night where you want to wear your new jacket, and now you're just settling for something you've worn probably a million times. I was so angry.
I bet.
I was super disappointed.
So what happened when you finally confronted her?
Oh, I mean, this is a funny thing, and I will say, Carolyn is a lot different now, but she did not have a lot of emotion for me.
See, kind
In
of
that
like
moment.
how I was.
In that moment, I
kinda
didn't,
grew up emotionless a little bit.
but I definitely felt like she should have been more apologetic.
Right, right.
Yeah, and I didn't feel like I got the apology that I needed, but whatever, you know, I
Right.
mean, you just move on. You gotta let it go. And I think I'm probably the more sensitive twin.
Right.
So I probably just didn't want to rock the boat. I didn't want to upset her, and I just wanted to, like, you know, move on. And,
Wow.
and you know, I'm sure I could have tried to go back and buy another jacket, but I mean, I didn't want to drop the money on the exact
Right.
same
Of
jacket
course,
again.
yeah.
But anyway, so it was a little bit painful. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. So it's funny because it's more of like you and your little, you know, fights or whatever were more when you're teenagers or gotten older,
Yes.
actually working and stuff. Where me and my sister, it was almost the opposite.
Yeah.
We didn't get along younger, But then once we got in our 20s and we got married and we started having children, I think it was because then we had things in common.
Oh, right.
I think previously there was nothing in common because the 5 years, I know it doesn't sound a lot now, but back then,
when you're little,
when
it really
one's 5
does.
and one's 10, or
Yes.
one's 10 and one's 15, you have nothing in common,
Yes,
right?
yes, for
So,
sure.
Yeah, I think that, and it sounds like you guys got along really well. Well, you're twins, so you were the same age.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got along really well young.
Yes.
And then the little things started coming out later in life.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, because like I said, we shared everything. We even shared a car. And my mom and dad were so sweet, you know, to help us buy our first car.
Mm-hmm.
But then we'd have to take turns.
Yeah, that would be rough.
And so it was really hard because, you know, I mean, we would try to like make a schedule with the car, you know, where like if you take it out this Friday, then I'll get it
get it
next
next
Friday.
Friday, yeah.
And so we would try to like make it so that it was balanced, you know.
Yes.
But then we were also both working. So then it was kind of like she would have to drop me off at work and then take the car so that she could go to work. And then every once in a while my mom would have to intervene just because our shifts were, you know, coinciding
Yeah.
or conflicting or whatever.
Right.
So, but yeah. Every once in a while, when it was my turn to have the car, I would be all ready to leave and realize that she didn't get picked up to go out. She actually took the car to go out. And I would be like, I don't have a car, and it's my turn. So I'd have to, like, beg my friends. Like, I'm so sorry. I told you I was going to drive tonight, but I can't. I don't have my car. It would just be like, whatever.
And she would just,
they'd be
she
like,
knew it was your day, though, right?
yeah, she would know it was my day.
And
yeah.
she would just do
there'd
it
just be gravel flung out of the driveway. And
She would just do it anyway, like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I'll just suffer the consequences.
Yeah, she
Because there
would.
won't be any.
There won't
because
be any, because
Marilyn,
I'm
she's-
just like,
it's so sweet to me that
tonight.
it won't even matter.
yeah, I don't even know her mentality. Like, I would never even talk to her about it, but
Oh
like,
my gosh, that's
it
funny.
happened on occasion, and you know, yeah. But,
Yeah, it's funny because it's so different than mine with my sister.
yeah.
It was completely different. You know, we didn't, I mean, like I was gone when she was young too, because I moved out pretty early.
Yeah.
So we didn't have that growing up as teenagers or whatever. We're
Yeah, like
around
as
each other
besties
as
where
much.
you like had so
Yes,
much in common.
exactly.
Where Carolyn and I like
Completely
had
different.
everything in common,
Yes,
and we
yes.
grew up sharing clothes, and so then it
Yeah.
was like. I think as we got older, we were trying to get our own identity. We were
think
trying to
so.
have our own look.
I think
and,
we still are.
Right? Yeah, we still. And I think it's because we're twins that I want to be so different.
Right.
You know, because people would make comments, you know, if they would say, hi, Carolyn, to me, I would be like, oh, I'm Marilyn. And then some of the kids I would go to high school would literally say, same difference. Or whatever, you know? And it's like
it doesn't matter.
like, it
It's
doesn't
one
matter.
of you.
Yeah, it's like one of us. And I'm like, no, I'm
No.
Marilyn. And she's Carolyn. Like, we're two
Yes.
totally different people.
And I will say, when they were younger, because I've seen pictures, they look a ton alike.
Yeah.
And even though they're not identical twins
Yeah.
or fraternal, but because they did their hair the same, or if they wore the same clothes, you know, when you're little.
Yeah, my mom would buy the exact same
Yeah,
outfit in
outfits or
two
whatever.
colors.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so
I understand that as you get older, you want your own identity.
Yes.
I could see that as a twin, and especially like in high school, if someone said, "Oh, same difference,"
yeah.
you're like, "Oh no, it's not."
Yeah, it was
you
just
know?
kind of insulting.
Yes,
I
that is
wouldn't-
insulting.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
So
like
I
they
get
were-
that.
They were like, I don't know, maybe it was embarrassing for them for me to correct them, but I
Yeah.
was just trying to be nice. Like,
Right.
You know, oh, I'm not Carolyn, you know, but they'd be like, whatever, same difference. And it's just like, yeah, it just hurt my feelings.
I can understand that. I get that. But
So tell me some more traumatizing things you
gosh,
did to
my
your
poor
sister.
Probably, I mean, I did push her down the stairs one time, but God, I probably could have killed her.
Oh my
think about
gosh.
it.
You
That was
literally
horrible.
did?
Yeah. And then she got a bled. No, it was mom and dad weren't home, and so I was babysitting her, and I hated babysitting her. And so when my mom and dad would leave to go to the movies or something, and they'd say they're going to leave, they're leaving, and they're leaving her with me, she would cry and say, "No, don't leave me with Cynthia. She's going to kill me."
Oh my gosh, that's terrible.
Oh my God, that's so horrible.
Like the bad seed.
I know, right? I
Oh.
was a bad seed.
Oh my gosh. Did your
I-
mom ever ask her, like, why is she crying? Like, why is she saying?
Well, I think because she would say I teased her. And see, my brother teased me.
Yeah.
So growing up, my brother was bad to me. So I couldn't wait to be bad to Lorraine.
Yes.
It was like this thing. And
Yeah,
I'm like, why were we like that?
Yeah, like it was your turn to be mean to
Yeah,
somebody.
and I'm like, and then Lorraine's like, but then I don't have anybody. I'm like, well, tough luck, you know?
Right? But your brother should have been sweet to you because you're just his baby sister.
Nope. He was mean to me.
Interesting.
And he didn't want nothing to do with me.
Interesting.
And so I think it was this like effect that
A kind of a cycle.
yeah, but when I see other families now on, on TV or when I'm watching Instagram, whatever, and it's like the older brother wants to take care of the sister and protect her from a bully at school or things like that. No.
Yeah.
My brother was not like that at all.
Yeah.
And an actual...
And that's too bad. You guys could have had such a great relationship.
But I will say, so many people I know say they were so close growing up. They were, brother or sister or whatever. They were so close. And then when they grew up, they don't get along.
Oh.
They never talk. They get in fights with their sisters all the time. They're pissed at them. We haven't talked in 2 years.
Right.
That kind of stuff. That never happens with mine.
Wow.
I've been mad at my brother before because of things he didn't do that we felt he should have pitched in and done when our parents were elderly.
Right.
But me and my sister said, okay, well, we have a choice. We can either be mad at my brother and never talk to him again, or we can just let this go and have our family.
Right.
And that's what we did.
Yeah.
And me and my sister are the same. We never fight. We will travel together.
Yeah.
We have so much fun together. We like doing the same things. And I so I will say, growing up now, we never fight.
Yeah.
Ever.
Because you were the scenario where it was reversed.
Like backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like totally backwards. So yeah, I did do that one time. And then one time I got in trouble for this too. I got in trouble all the time because I was always doing stuff. But we had those.
I wouldn't have left the house. I would have been like, I'm not leaving those 2 kids alone. Like for Cynthia to babysit.
For me.
Lorraine.
Well, I was trying to tell him, don't leave me.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Because I didn't want a babysitter.
You're like, I don't want a babysitter, and if you leave
hated it.
and you make me babysitter, I'm
Then
gonna
I'm gonna
traumatize
be
her.
mean. Yeah, exactly. And that was kind of like what it was.
I might kill her. I might
No.
just break her nose. You could have killed her and pushed her down the stairs.
It was horrible.
Oh,
She had a
looking
bloody
back
nose
now.
and she got blood on her white shirt. And so I was like, oh my God. So I knew I was going to get in bad trouble.
Oh,
so I was
yeah.
cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. I'm like, okay, we got to change your shirt. And please don't tell Mom. Please don't tell Mom. Don't tell them that I did that. Because if you tell, I'm really going to get in trouble, right? So don't tell. She didn't tell. So it was like, kind of like you and Carolyn. It was kind of like, you're easy.
Yeah.
So you know you can do certain things because you can get
away with
talk
it.
your way out of it.
Right.
So it's not a very good thing, but it is a thing. And like I said, I have apologized to my sister like 50,000 times. I don't know why I was the way I was. I would never be like that ever again,
No.
And I mean, literally from my 20s, I wouldn't be that way. But we had a door in our dining room, so it was your kitchen and dining room, and then there was a glass door that was like a 4 glass partition thing, and it led out to the backyard.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know, we were running around, and I was mad. I probably was chasing her. I was mad at her or something. And this house, you could run in a circle.
Oh, that's cool.
Around,
Especially
all
if you had
around.
roller skates or
Oh yeah, we
little
would
bicycle.
get killed if we did that.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. But anyway, so I think we were running, and I grabbed her and I pushed her, and her foot went through the glass door.
Oh my!
She didn't get cut or anything, but we busted the door.
Wow.
The glass and the door. So yeah,
That had to
there
be
was no
expensive.
hiding that one.
And that's good you got in trouble.
I got in
Did
trouble.
it calm you down a little bit? No.
No.
I gotcha.
No.
Well, I know how expensive a screen is.
I know, right?
I can't even imagine how
What
much
the
a glass door.
was that's cut like that, a certain size.
Serious.
Yeah, so, and of course at the time I don't think that kind of stuff.
No.
But I kind of made it as, oh great, now look what you did.
Right. Oh my gosh, you blamed it on her after you pushed her? Oh, poor Lorraine.
I know,
She's so sweet.
she is.
But you guys, like you said,
But
it's
now
Cynthia's
I'm
defense.
telling you,
They're like best friends.
we are.
And you guys
and I
do.
have apologized, and I always tell her I don't know why I was mean when I was young, but I'm so sorry that I was mean to you, that I wish I would have been like this really like loving big sister.
Yeah.
But I am now. So it's so funny because now I tell her even like, and this has been years, right? Years
Right.
and years and years. And I'll say, sometimes I feel like I have to protect you because I didn't do it when I was young. And sometimes I like to buy you things because I don't feel like I, gave you things or
Yeah.
appreciated you when I was younger and stuff like that. She goes, okay, because I love it.
Exactly.
She goes,
Yes.
I'm just reeking in the benefits now.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. No, that feels good because you can make up for lost time. You know? For sure.
So yeah, it's the mean sister.
That is crazy. I mean, when you tell me that you pushed her down the stairs, I'm just like, she could have broke her
I
neck.
know.
But, yeah. So, were you the mean sister or were you an honorary sister?
I was both.
Were you, like, because, she thought you were teasing her.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like you were trying to kill her.
No, I mean, never, ever.
No.
It's not like I took a pillow, put over her face or something. I'd never do something like that. No, I never meant to hurt her, period.
Yes.
Didn't mean to hurt. It was more of, like, teasing her.
Yeah.
You're right. It's more of a teasing.
Yeah.
Like one time I remember running in that circle in that same house, chasing her with peanut butter. And I had this whole clump of peanut butter and I smeared it all in her hair.
Oh my gosh.
Just to be mean or honorary, I don't know. And
Yes.
she's screaming, "Ah!" And I'm just like,
It's so hard to get that out of your hair.
you just wash it.
Oh my gosh. That is so crazy.
But yeah, it was to tease. It wasn't to harm.
Yes.
I wasn't that bad.
No. Not, so they're not the bad
The
seed.
seed wasn't that bad.
Yes, exactly.
The seed was just kind of damaged.
So it's just kind of a broken seed.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
yeah.
that is
It
crazy.
was, so.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. Well, I'm very grateful that my sisters were not
Super sweet, huh?
super honorary to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's
You
just
lucked
like
out.
I said, just the teenage years where we're like sharing things and she wanted to borrow, but she didn't ask. And
Yeah.
yeah.
That's kind of normal, though.
Yeah, it did.
You know?
It did feel normal.
Yeah, that's
Like-
normal teenage stuff,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, and the cool thing is, too, when you grow up with a twin sister, usually the same size. So we ended up trading clothes even when we got married and we were like in our own houses and we were
That's
still
cool,
working.
though.
I would literally take like a stack of my dresses and my skirt suits and stuff to Carolyn's and I would trade with her.
That's awesome, because then you had like 2 wardrobes.
We totally did.
Yeah, I will say that when me and my sister got older too, we could trade clothes. And she lived at home longer, and there was a period of time that I moved back home. And I remember when I got my very first job, I didn't have a lot of dresses and stuff, and I had to
Yeah.
wear a dress because I was a hostess at
right.
Naomi's. That was my very first job. And so she had all the dresses because she still was going to church and stuff, so she had all her church. So I could wear all her dresses.
Oh, that's
so at
so-
least we did, we did get to do
Share
that
and
part of
trade
it
and-
later, a little later in life. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
because
did,
it is
yeah.
fun. It like kind of doubles your wardrobe.
It does. It completely doubles your wardrobe. Well, I'm just glad everybody survived.
Yes, we all
And,
survived.
Yeah, my sister is, willing and able. She's a great person. And my mother used to tell me that if my sister was mentally ill, it was my fault.
because she fell down
She
the
said
stairs.
that because she said I terrorized her so
Oh,
much.
just from the terror.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
from the fall. Because
And
your
I-
mom didn't know
And
about
ha
it.
ha ha, she's very perfect.
She is. You didn't ruin her.
I didn't ruin her at all.
Well, this was a
Anyway.
very enlightening chat.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I will not make you mad. I won't be standing at the top of the stairs with you.
I turned a new leaf back.
No, because I don't.
Back in my 20s.
Yes, I did not know that side of her. I will be honest. I've never seen that side of her. So, yeah, she's always been very nice to me.
Well, I am nice.
You
but
are.
But what was funny was when my friend had asked that question and my sister told the bathtub story.
Yes.
Everybody kind of looked at me.
Yes, 'cause they-
and I'm like, well, I was way different. I wasn't a
Yes,
very nice
because we
big
can't
sister.
imagine you being ornery.
And that's what Karen
Like
kept
that.
saying. I can't even imagine you being like that.
Yes.
And I'm like, and my sister's like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, and she's
yeah.
just like, these are your friends. Let me
Yeah,
tell them.
Let me tell them what you did to me.
for sure.
I was so busted.
Oh, my
So
gosh, yeah.
busted, yeah.
You're like
But anyway.
backpedaling.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, hey, hey, you guys have a great day.
Yes, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.